So, I have to say this as well. Big Bowser. Yeah, Big Bowser and the strikers. Big Bowser and the striker. I would have seen Big Bowser return, back to the national team after Steve McLaren made that comment, that comments about, Big Bowser need to get minutes, he need to put back himself into farm. But history, record, and statistics let the coach lead back and pick back a Big Bowser in the national team. And I must say, I said this, and this is no disrespect to Big Bowser, as Bowser is a player that I respect. Bowser, I respect the work that he put in. I respect the journey of where he's coming from. I respect the way he fight for his career in Europe as well. I just respect everything about the player and the football pitch. You understand? But Bowser got lucky by getting reinstated back into the team, and it would have lead up to the work that that Bowser put in his first couple of years for the Reggae Boy team, where he scored loads of goals. The leading goal scorer for this generation of players at this moment. 20 plus goals, around 21, 22 goals for the national team. Literally around half of that scored against Caribbean opposition team, as what the coach said, as what the statistics laid out, by Mr. Preston towards the coach. And that's what, lead back discussion talking about, Shamar Nicholson being back in around the team, getting pick over players that was on farm, getting picked in the September window over Trivante, over Ramon Borrell, so he's a lucky guy. And in football, you need a little bit of a luck. Yeah, you need a little bit of a luck. And what Bowser did something great. He did something marvelous. Coming off the bench in BVI, scored that brilliant header, that corner kick, that kick by Ronaldo Webster. Yeah, he did exactly what the coach wanted to see a Bowser do versus Caribbean opposition team. So, and then again, the big goal that he got on Tuesday inside of the office. Yeah, so Bowser scored in each windows, September and October. So Bowser I would have said that Bowser took him chance. Bowser leave it all onto the coach to say, look, rate my performance. How you like it? I scored in the September window and I also scored in the October window. He did what he was asked to do. Score against Caribbean opposition team. The statistics show that he's prolific against these Caribbean teams. So I'm just saying, man, Bowser, hope this is a turning point in your career. I know it's been bad moments, for you in Mexico of not getting the minutes on the pitch, but also, a club that is 100% behind you, supporting you. I know it can be a little bit rational, in the media in Mexico, where fans, journalists talk about you out. It can be, you waste the club money, taking the salary of not, giving back to the team, on the pitch. Would have seen Bowser scored his first goal of the season, and we saw, and I played that video on this channel, and how the team huddle up around Bowser, how the manager, run towards, the player, try to just celebrate and greet him and let him know that, welcome on the stat sheet, that you finally get your first goal of the season. So that would have been a beautiful sight to see, that everyone really appreciate the player and everyone is right among the player that they want the player to do his best. So Bowser going back to his club, and my friend, let's hope he can continue to put in the work. It's going to be a tough November window as well. Steve McLaren already talking about that is going to be a headache month of selection. If Antonio is going to be fit, then what's going to happen. I'm not saying he's going to get left out, but as seems like Antonio is the coach foot soldier. So really appreciate your service. We have to give you credit. Came on here and I talk about your downfall of lack of minutes, lack of form on the pitch, lack of, you would say, not good decisions of, in my own eyes, not towards you, but in my own eyes, not the best of decisions making, moving from different clubs to different clubs. You understand? Everyone, can have the right to criticize, a player where you get transferred to move, and understand that little thing. But just put in the work. Hopefully you can start to get more minutes. But I saw you got right after you get that first goal for the club. I think it was the game or the next game after 2 games down the line, where you got around 60 minutes on the pitch and you got a goal, you got a sitter where you could have leaded to be a goal scorer on the score sheet again, that put up your second goal in Liga MX this season, and you miss it. But you miss one in Curacao. But I'm just saying, hope you can put these chances away. And Boyz is a youth that whenever he's turning up for the national team, he's going to put out his all. You understand? He's going to put out his all. You saw when he scored that goal how much it means to him. How much it means to his family members. Was that the pack of the Rima people that were in the stadium as well, cheering for their Rima Jesus on the pitch, the Rima God. You understand? So that time it mean a lot to Boyz, and it mean a lot to seeing him, especially I think there was an iconic moment after that game where Boyz's son, I think the bigger son, I think he had 2 sons or whatever, but the first youth, young Shamar, would have on his father neck and walking around that pitch. That is an iconic sight to see a goal scorer, a player that can be a national treasure. He's the closest one to Luton Shelton. You understand? So I hope his eyes is on that prize, which I think as a striker, his eyes is on that prize. And would have loved to see, Boyz playing in the World Cup. A player who have worked hard, over the years, but he put himself back in the limelight after someone that was out of the shadow. Someone that was out. Yeah, he was out of a light. He was in the dark of not even know if he's going to get picked. And I figure he probably, when he got that call, for the September window, he'd have probably a bit surprised of, really get a call up over Trivante and Ramon Borrell. You understand? But then when you look on it, Mikel Antonio was in the team. So, I don't want to go there, but you know the stigma around that as well. So hopefully, Big Boyz can really get back in his farm as, Ramon Borrell, Trivante Stewart is playing fantastic well for his team in Israel. Antonio, don't know when that issue is going to sort out with him as well. And also Biel Kadamatir. So right now, Boyz is not even really the people them favorite, to be honest. When I say the people them favorite, like Biel Kadamatir came in, and the way how he played, his gameplay, it's like an overall package. It seems like he's more ideal, that he's that ideal striker for the national team. But Boyz show a different side at least. Listen, Shamar Nicholson is here, and I think Boyz also can finish the job, the job that Darren Mattock said he was going to do. Maybe Boyz is the one that can actually, as a local striker, someone that, as Mattock said, he would love to be that striker to bring the national team to the next World Cup. Yeah, Shamar Nicholson probably can finish that job for his former teammate. But Biel Kadamatir seems like he is that number 9 for Steve McLaren. You understand? But that goal that he scored, Big Boyz is a big goal scorer. I remember Boyz scored in some huge game. Remember, Boyz took us single-handedly to the Copa America. Yeah? Don't forget he scored that lone goal when we got defeated in Kingston versus Canada. We got 2-1, and then he went to Canada and he scored a brace. Remember, Boyz in that game, those 2 games, yeah, bring us single-handedly with his goals to the Copa America. Yeah, he would have had some bad times, some dreadful run for the national team. But when players doing well, you have to come out and give him the credit. And we can come here and criticize, Shamar Nicholson, but at the end of the day, we all want good for Shamar Nicholson. You understand? Shamar Nicholson is a player that the people them really love him. But at this moment, I feel like the fans are more into, the brown man. But the goal that Shamar Nicholson scored, he just put back his name up there to say, hey, remember my name. You understand? Remember my name. And that goal is just not a goal, but that goal sent a signal. Steve McLaren been playing mind games, with Shamar Nicholson. You understand? So hope Boyz, can do the right thing, put in some hard work in, because you want to be on the plane, Boyz. You cannot let this plane miss you. You understand? You cannot let this plane miss you. So, brother, you have to go do everything in your own hands that you can do on the training pitch and to get your opportunity. Like when you get the opportunity, for Club Tijuana, create big moments, have big moments in the game. Show the coach that, look, listen, if you give me 10 minutes, I'm going to have 2 or 3 moments in that game. So you're going to give me an extra 5-10 minutes on that, and then you start to get your 30, and then you find yourself a command right at the start of second half, or you find yourself a start. Back again. You understand? Because you did get your moments under one Carlos Osorio. Now, this coach, gave you a chance as well. He brought you to the League Cup. You start in games. You missed a few opportunities there. But this is the time now to sharpen up, Boyz. This is the time now to sharpen up, because guess what? I don't just want to see a Shamar Nicholson playing in Mexico. I love to see Shamar Nicholson do well in Mexico, leave a good name in Mexico, and also move back to the big time in Europe. You understand? Because you need to be on the plane. And I think next year his contract will be wiring down as well. You understand? So he want to put his place, and he want to make sure that the work that he's doing at his club, it's also highlighting that when a national squad gets selected, when the striker pool is speaking, his name is always in that bag to pull up to get in the national team. You understand? Because Boyz have a different swagger. When Boyz is on top of his farm, he's way different than every other striker have, because I remember the goals that Boyz scored in his early days of the national team. You understand? Boyz is a big goal scorer. Yeah, he's a big game goal scorer. From the JPL, Domzell, Charlotte, Spartak Moscow, Claremont, you name it. You understand? He is a big game goal scorer. He knows to score in big games, and he know how when his back is against the wall, just like he was getting ridiculed by the reggaeboyz fans leading up in that Canada game in the quarterfinal in the Nations League, and a lot of people calling for Boyz to sit on the bench, but he turned up big. You understand? So every time when his back is against the wall, he always come up with some big goals. So November come up, and I would love to see a Shamar Nicholson start in that game down in Trinidad. As when I don't want to have that stigma, that that segregation around players that born locally and players that who born in the diaspora. They are one Jamaica. We are all one Jamaica. You understand? But I just feel like when a Boyz start up front and farm is feeling the game, when players are playing alongside that who understand what a Shamar Nicholson want up front, he's going to play well. You understand? He's going to play very well. So hopefully things can go right with Shamar Nicholson as the competition continue with him. Mikhail, Romain Borrell, Trivante, so many different strikers, man. So many different strikers. So I just him have to just do the right thing and go back to Club Tijuana and just sort out the farm and get the thing and go again. So look more from now. Big Boyz at it again versus Pabuela. So people, that's it. Closing out the weekend. Hope to see you guys sometime. Maybe Sunday, Monday, but more likely see you guys Monday again. The wrapped up for the weekend. Ciao.